For this presentation, I chose to focus on exploring monolingual ideology and linguistic privilege on immigrant communities. Now, why did I choose this topic? After reading and experiencing the monolingualism ideology myself, I felt it was appropriate to learn more about this topic. I've seen how it limits other marginalized groups in educational and other social settings, so I felt it was important to see the overall effect it has. Now, the major issues with this ideology is that it promotes a superiority for the English language and the person who speaks it. There's a privilege that comes with it because you're viewed as superior for simply knowing it and being able to say these words. Because it's been promoted for so long as well, there's sort of this fear of multilingualism wherever you go, and it doesn't allow for growth in any other language. This overall causes economic, political, and social issues in jobs, schools, government, and people in general, just because of this ideology. Now, what does this look like in day-to-day lives, specifically the language discrimination many face? If you have an accent, it's judged heavily. It's seen as wrong or incorrect because people feel like it could be pronounced or said better. Dialects are also seen as incorrect, which leads to forced assimilation. People tend to want to get rid of these incorrectness, so forced assimilation has to happen in order for them to be accepted, which means there's a lack of tolerance as well. This places people's abilities, specifically their linguistic abilities, in a box that already limits them because of this linguistic variety. This person I found on YouTube, he explains the struggle he faced in his own country by his own community as well. Now, we know that language is different for anyone, so let's look at these varieties and dialects that we see from all over the place. All of these places have their own version of English, and it doesn't make it wrong or incorrect, but because society has placed such a linguistic privilege on a specific one, the one from Canada is probably going to be seen as the right one, just because it doesn't have that much of an accent or that much of a difference of American English as well. Now, the overall educational impacts this has on the immigrant communities is exceedingly alarming because they don't have enough resources in other languages to help the students. What this means is that students will fall behind and continue to fall behind as they won't be able to understand what is being taught to them. This will cause an overall complex relationship with school itself, as the students are going to feel like as they're not smart enough or capable enough to get through it. Students that immigrated are then faced with either completely dropping out of school if nothing helps them, or trying to find other ways to navigate this. Because they are then forced to speak English only in the classroom, there's a disconnect from their language, which is culturally important to them as well. Now let's take a look at the effect economically for the immigrant community. Because of the language barrier they have, it's a lot harder for them to find jobs, which also restricts the careers they're able to go into. This causes a huge wealth disparity as they often go for the most accessible and which means the lowest paying jobs. Oftentimes with these jobs, because they know the people are in desperate need, there's a lot of exploitation as well, which makes it particularly difficult for them to come clean with all these stories. Now, what this looks like in institutionalized places, because of the language ideology that we're so used to seeing, which is English only, government services such as places like the DMV have only resources in English. Healthcare is also a big one because a lot of the people who don't have an English-only accent, you could say, are judged heavily. The story of Maria is one that stuck out because CPS was called on her when she gave birth because she spoke an indigenous language. Examples we have seen in real life or read about. One of the articles pointed out how Japanese schools in America were English only, so they were forced to assimilate in order to get their citizenship. Prop 227 voted and essentially said that instruction should be English only, which caused issues for those students who had recently immigrated. And these are the references I've used.